Good evening. Tonight's topic is about momentum. In the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to see how can I get the momentum going for videos on my YouTube channel, and guess what? It's been having some difficulties. So how can I actually get momentum? You would say, well, I need momentum too. Okay, so let's see together how we can figure out how we can increase or improve momentum with the goals we have and the vision we want to achieve. Because keep in mind that if we don't find ways to create momentum or get ways to get closer to where our goals are, how do we know we're getting closer to what we really want? And that's what we will discuss today. I have six steps, 6 ideas for you to keep in mind when thinking of momentum. Anyway, I was making a list of what I need to create momentum, and I figured I'd share that with you. I think it's important. My first idea was to actually figure out to know where are the limits of your comfort zone. I know that I'm doing this video here as part of a momentum challenge from EvanCarmichael. Because too often we say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but sometimes there's a lot of things that get in the way. So the idea is, okay, what can we do? You know what? This week I had a long list of things to do, and it took me the whole week to do it. And at the end of the week, I was busy all week, and I didn't quite get closer to my main goal, which is building this YouTube channel, learning new things so that I can get excited towards my vision. Well, things happen, and lists are important. On the other hand, is when we put things on our lists, are they things that are important to you, or are they important to others? Are they getting you closer to your vision? So let's see. My first topic here, my first suggestion for you and I, is to know where the limits of your comfort zone is. And I know that because it's too easy to stay within the comfort zone. So for example, this week I had a lot of things to do. I stayed within where I felt comfortable because it was easier for me. Now, knowing the limits of your comfort zone is amazing for two parts. First, if you feel that you need to regroup, at least you know where you have to go. And if you want to create new ideas or new projects, then you know where your limits are. And the question is indeed, what do we do with the knowledge of knowing our limits? The limits that is between being comfortable to being a bit somewhat uncomfortable, because we're crossing over to the uncomfortable zone, the new areas, the new learning opportunities out there. So for example, if you think about my degree in geology, I was in Quebec City area when I was younger. I wanted to learn English. And guess what? I decided to go to Montreal to study. Okay, so that was a big, bold move. There was a limit on what I knew. There was also a limit where I knew the limits where the uncomfortable place was. And if I wanted to learn English, I really needed to go to an English university. So I knew the limits, and I took over that part. For the same reason, some of us, sometimes we travel in the same place over and over again, whereas some other people will create opportunities where they will travel in different areas of the world. For example, I've traveled a few countries in Europe, for example, so France and England and Italy, Switzerland. But I like to go to other countries such as Costa Rica or Madagascar, where it's a bit further away from the beaten path of big centers. But I think there's lots I could learn there as well. For the same thing of this YouTube channel and the other channels I have, I know there's some limits of what I can do. And to do this video tonight is a bit of uncomfortable because I'm talking about a topic which is momentum, whereas I'm still trying to figure out what the recipe is to get momentum going. And you know what? That's what I decided today. So I was trying to look at 6 steps to try to get momentum, and I figured I'd make a video as well about it. I think it's good. Now, once you know where the limits of your comfort zones are, now you have to figure out, okay, is it possible to, what do we do with that information? And it's for you to realize, and I, that growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Because once you go beyond the limits of your comfort zone, then you realize that, okay, there are things I don't know, I need to learn. There's the possibilities that I will fail, but the learning opportunities are amazing. So that's why we have to realize that growth happens beyond the limits of a comfort zone. If you don't realize that first, then it's just easier to stay put because it's a safe place to be. For example, I try in this YouTube channel to cover some ideas on leadership. I create different opportunities for my students to learn. In my other channel for science in French, for example, I'm doing live tutoring sessions. This is going out of my comfort zone because I don't know exactly what the questions will be. But I'm learning a lot from Zen, the man who's doing, actually at this time, live sessions 3 times a week. Imagine that. I'm doing it for 1 hour a week, and I have so much to learn from him. Why? Because I know that growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So knowing the limits and understanding that growth happens beyond those limits, that I think is a key to success. Now, how does that apply to momentum? Well, that's a good question. First of all, once you know your limits, you know where the limits between your comfortable place and the beyond where learning can happen. I think it's important for you to create a vision of where you want to go. Because once you create a vision, then what happens is you know that, okay, for example, learning is my one word, and I know that the more you learn, the more you can achieve and improve your life. The same way I believe that my students, the more they learn, the more they get to know what they like, what they don't like, and then they can figure out what's the next step for them. So knowing your vision, for example, me wanting to share with you that learning is important, sharing with you that once you know that about yourself, then you can build confidence and leadership in your own life to go to the next level. How do we do that? We need to know what the limits of our comfort zone is. We need to know that growth happens beyond those limits. And then you need to figure out, do I have a vision big enough to go beyond those limits? And I think that's one of the things I have to figure out is how to make my vision bigger. To have the vision, to have a YouTube channel is great, but what is the next step with a YouTube channel? That's a good question. So that's what I'm going to be working with as we go along. And the same way, as part of the goal that you have in life, wanting to be kind to others, wanting to be helpful to others, wanting to help others be resourceful, I think that's the best way you can create a vision. And I think that might be my next video, how to realize the vision that will get you beyond the limits of your comfort zone. I think that'll be a great video. Thank you for being part of the inspiration here. The next one is once you have a goal. So for example, I want this YouTube channel to be part of the fact that everybody can learn in school and outside of school, and being confident that you can do that. And in order to be able to do that, you need to have your vision. But above all, you need to see, okay, what you need to visualize where that vision will lead you. So, for example, you may have heard of the law of attraction. What is the law of attraction? Is when you have an idea, you have a positive ideas, you feel that there's much you can do, then you start noticing little clues and little opportunities around you. The law of attraction is not coming from outside, but it's coming from inside you. So learning to visualize where your vision can lead you, that's, I think, is an amazing part of thing. Because once you visualize what your vision is, and your vision is knowing that the growth is outside of your comfort zone, guess what? The sky's the limit. And every time you go beyond your comfort zone, the limits of your comfort zone, then you realize there are new limits. And then there's new limits. You go outside of that comfort zone, then limits keeps on expanding. And that's why growth is almost infinite. And it's quite amazing when you think of leadership and possible opportunities for you. Now, once you visualize it, I think the next step is to break it down in small steps. I had difficulties. I had water flooding in my basement a couple of weeks ago, and all my documents, all my notes, all my posters on visualizing where I want to go, they're all in boxes. So I can't have access to it, and I think that may be one reason. Well, if I don't see what my vision is, where my goals are, then it's easier to just stay put. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have a vision and you know where you want to go, and you can break it down in small pieces, then the beautiful part is it gets you to the sixth part, which is you look at the little steps, you take actions on the little steps, and then you feel rewarded for succeeding. Little successes creates more confidence. More confidence creates energy, and energy of wanting to do and move forward with your vision, with your knowing that you will learn outside of the limits of your comfort zone. I think that's the ultimate thing you can do. And let's see if we can look at the 6 steps again together. So what do we want to have? We want to have momentum. What do I mean by momentum? Is to have goals and finding the way to get momentum to get to those goals faster. Okay, so that means that what do we need? We need first, one, to know where the limits are of your comfort zone. So you're comfortable in your life. What are the limits that will be, okay, if I go beyond that, that may be uncomfortable for me. Once you know those limits, you need to realize that growth happens outside of the limits of your comfort zone. So once you realize that, then you will find that it's exciting. You realize that new experiences happen beyond those limits. Third, you want to create a vision, because once you have your vision and you know that learning is possible, then you are open-minded to achieve those goals. And that, I think, is quite amazing. Once you have your goal or your vision, you want to be able to visualize it, because once you visualize it, you'll be able to see the different opportunities that is around you, opportunities to achieve your vision towards where you want to be. What's the fifth part? Once you know your vision, your goal, you break it down in small steps. Too often when we look at goals, they're way too big, and it's just easier to stay in our comfort zone and not move at all and stay put. On the other hand, if you break your bigger goals into small steps, you realize that small steps are easy to achieve. They create successes. Small successes builds confidence, and it is an ever-growing possibilities where you can achieve your vision. And the sixth part is indeed to take action. Taking action, so that's the sixth part, taking action, because once you take action, you'll be able to feel that you can do so much more than you were doing a year from now. And often creating momentum is not something that will change overnight. You may say, well, I haven't done much more than last week. That's true. You may not have done much more than last month. On the other hand, if you look back 2 years, you look back 5 years, you realize how far you've been and how far you are from where you were 5 years ago. I know I am. And there's so much more that I know I can do, because I know I can see people that have had great successes. If some others have been able to have successes, I think it's possible for me to do so. So let's see where this will lead. And I have a call to action for you. I want you to put in the comments here below, what is one of the goals that you have in mind, a goal that you'd like to achieve, and I would like you to write the 3 next steps you're going to do to get closer to that goal. I know you can do it, and those little steps will make it easier for you. And if you want to make it 5 steps, you can, because once you realize that little steps are easy to achieve, then you'll get towards your bigger goal. I believe in you, and I'm going to put here another video that relates to leadership, to knowing that we can do much more than we believe we can. All we have to do is visualize it, break it down in small pieces, and know that we can learn. And growth happens beyond the limits of our comfort zone. On this, I'm going to see you next video. Can't wait to see you there.